I have a client shout at me. I hold back my tears, go back to my job. Even my junior shouting and crying because they were so stressful. It's not abnormal, right? The deadline is 5 o'clock, so we have 200-300 pages of financial statement to submit, and there is no room for error. I work 40 hours for 2 days straight. First year, my manager said, I don't think you're cut for a second year associate. I had a major breakdown at 3 a.m.
Hi, Li Jian.
Hello.
So let's start with this. Many of my friends who are accountants graduate, the first thing that they'll do is they will think about working in the Big Four. And immediately many friends will tell them this. For the next 4 years in your life, you will have no life. Is it true?
I think there's definitely some truth to it. So being an auditor for the last 10 to 11 years, I would say that there are certain days that you work really long, 10 to 12 hours a day. That's during a peak season. And peak season doesn't mean that, it only lasts for 3 months. So depending on your allocation engagement, it can go from 5-6 months of peak season. During those time, you just see your team members more than you see your families or friends. So there's definitely some truth to it. But of course, it's not like it's every day you have to work 10 to 12 hours. There are certain days that it's low season. You can have long lunch, have coffee, but no life for the first 5 years. Yeah, half of the time you do work very, very hard.
Half of it.
Half of it, I would say. Yeah, the rest of the time, maybe you work 8 hours. Yeah.
Can you describe to me a day during a peak season?
So I probably have not seen the sun set or sunrise. We go to office maybe say 6:30, 7 o'clock. We gather in office. Then after that, we have to carpool to go to the client's place.
Right.
So depending where you are, the distance can be fairly far away. We will go there, start our work, try to arrive before 8 or 8:30. And then we will work all the way, have dabao lunch to come to client's office, or probably order takeaway to eat in the office. Dinner will usually also be in office place. So we try to escape the jam. So 8 o'clock, then we leave the office depending what time the client leaves. And then we'll go back our office. We continue on from there, possibly until 12, 1.
Oh, so you go back not to go home, but to own office and work right now?
Yeah, so you have other things to do in office. Maybe print out the files, file it in, upload some files into certain software system that we used to have. Well, back then, the system wasn't so advanced. So certain system or hardware can only be available in the office, whereby you can still have to connect the cable.
Right.
Yeah. 12, 1 o'clock, then that's pretty much, we're like, can have supper if you're hungry. If not, then we can go home. Take a shower, sleep at 2, then you wake up and do that all over again. So that's pretty much how we roll during a peak season.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a day that is during reporting season. I work 40 hours for 2 days straight. So
40 hours for 2 days straight, which means you never slept.
never slept. 2 days, we have 48 hours. We drove back home, take a shower, have a meal or something, change into new clothes, 2 hours nap, and go back again.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was 2 days before the reporting deadline.
After so many years. When you think about the experience, what's the feeling like? Is it excitement or it just scares you?
Well, honestly speaking, now I think back, for sure I had a good laugh. But at the point of time, I think we didn't realize that we weren't sleeping. We were just autopiloting a lot of times. Sometimes my friend said that when I drive, I wasn't looking at the street or at the road. I just drive. I didn't felt like it was anything but, the drive to just, we must meet the deadline. There's no room for error. You must submit before the day of reporting.
Right.
Yeah, there's no way that you can miss a deadline. If not, hefty compensation penalty might apply. You don't want to mess with those. So it's not something that we can miss. Though we are not doctors, but yeah, in our field, it's to do or to die at that point of time. But when I think back now, it is quite fun. I was young and I had all my friends. Oh, now we are friends, yeah, for life. If you're going through audit, you are bonded for life. That's what we said.
Yeah, you're going to spend 40 hours in 2 days with a person. That kind of time, it's hard to not be good friends.
Exactly.
Yeah, either you love each other, hate each other.
Yeah. Most of the time we love each other, but we try not to kill each other during those mental stress. I could have 3-4 cups of coffee a day. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Those are those days that during reporting time. Wow. But of course, not every day is of such.
Tell us a little bit more about that compensation penalty, right? How does it work? And because you guys just entered being slightly more junior or even senior, not at the director level yet, does it also apply to you guys and how does it go?
Yeah, of course, as a junior or associate or even a senior, right? Generally speaking, you don't take responsibility for missing the deadline. But in audit, we all work as a team. So if you miss a deadline, the partner will be in trouble or the firm will be in trouble. So you didn't want that. So you have the mentality to move and go forward as a team. So you already knew that this deadline there's no room for error.
Right.
At the moment, you have to just do it. And there's nothing that you can negotiate with the regulatory, with the government or with the bosses. So bosses will sit there as well. Yeah, they were there till late nights. Yeah, they make sure that you churn that out at that point of time, and they were there on the spot, on site, checking till 12, 1 a.m.
And because you guys are accountant background yourself, you all know what that compensation means, right? It's gonna go into the red side back of the book.
I mean, it doesn't hit us out of our pocket. It's not, going to be deducted from my salary for sure. But it's not something that you didn't want to.
You don't be the guy that everyone's like, because of this person.
Exactly. We all screw up the whole engagement now. Yeah. You don't want that to happen.
Having said that, before you joined the audit industry, did you already know that this was coming? They always say there's a difference between knowing it theoretically and experiencing. So how was it like for you? Like when you joined the industry?
I didn't know what I was getting into, honestly speaking. I didn't came from a background of accounting family. I didn't have any friends that go into audit. So I was pretty naive, fresh graduate. So I just apply because people around in that course and say, yeah, you should just go into audit. It's going to be good for your experience. And I didn't know what was that all about. Let's try. So I just throw in my resume and I got in. I have no expectation. So I have zero clue of what I'm doing as well for the first 3, 4, 5 months. I didn't know what I was doing. And I didn't have expectation that I had to work this late for certain times. And I didn't know what was audit all about. I have zero clue. So I went in without thinking much.
Right.
It was just based on some recommendation of my friends from the same course. And that's about it.
And so when you were in it that time, the first time you started staying that late, did it hit you like, what have I got myself into?
Yeah, I was like, what is people doing in office late night? It was like 12, 1 o'clock. The office was full of people.
Full of people?
I remember the day, it was the 5th of March and it was the peak of the season, right? That's when, people are rushing through all the deadlines. So 1, 2 o'clock, I walk into office. I was like, oh, it's actually bright and there's a lot of people and everyone is just talking. It was noisy. It wasn't a quiet office, dark office, nothing like that. So it was actually really, really Maria,
Like as if it's the daytime, right?
Yeah, I thought it was a day, but no. I didn't know how late people were working and what were they working towards. Yeah, I didn't know what those deadlines meant to me at the first year.
Right.
Yeah, at that point of time, I have zero expectation that people had to work this late. And to me, it just opened my eyes why people are willing to spend their nights in office, but not at home or not with their family or with their friends, right?
So maybe let's answer the question, right? You're one of those who do not know, but there are also many people who kind of already know that that's the life in the audit industry, but they still choose to enter into audit as an industry. Why?
Well, I think really, when you go into audit, you really learn a lot in a short span of time. So I always say you go in 3 years, you get 5 years of experience, right? And of course, it just looks great on your resume coming out of a big 4. You have that branding on your resume and they give you a great start to the next venture, whatever that you're heading into, whether you're staying audit or going out to another line commercial for sure, right? But audit gives you that foundation that I think not many companies or entities can give you that. So they give you the drive, right? They give you the grit. They give you the ability to adapt, right? In any situation. I mean, in the audit, of course, it's not just all about technical, your accounting standards, your auditing standards, or your regulatory guidelines. I think in many ways, it just helps you to shape your mentality, to be strong, to adapt whatever it comes, right? And in any situation that is difficult, you just have to stay calm in those situations. So I believe audit teaches you all that, and a lot of people actually sort of appreciate at the end of the day, after coming out of audit, or whether you're still staying there for whatever reason it is.
Right.
People appreciate that.
Yeah, talking about that, I do notice, because we do have someone who works with us who is from audit. And what I do notice is that although this person is younger, the ability to handle stress is actually very, very high. I would say that it's probably one of the most emotionally resilient people that I've worked with. And she always tell me this one thing, right? That because in the audit world, it's crazy. You mean all sorts of situations.
Yeah.
And if your boss were to just throw a file at you or your client throw a file at you or like shouts at you or anything like that, you have that ability after a while to just be very calm. You just don't get affected. You'll be able to sit down back and do your job just like normal. So maybe can you share with us, what is one of the craziest experiences that you have had gone through before that we can really appreciate that magnitude of craziness and stress that one needs to go through?
Yeah, I mean, probably with the ex-auditor, went through whatever she went through. I can't deny that most of the auditor could have went through that as well, right? I have a client shout at me, no problem, right? I hold back my tears, go back to my job, go back to my desk and just do it for the rest of the day, right? Having a boss shouting, even my junior shouting and crying, because they were so stressful or whatnot. Yeah, those are sort of
every day.
Not every day, but it's not abnormal, right? Let's put it that way. Yeah. So it's not like a surprise anymore, right? So I have people coming into my cubicle and cry, and I have tissue ready for them. It's a very high stress environment. I can't deny that, right? You have a lot of different team members, bosses, clients, different circumstances, limited resources to place with. So those fairly normal for people to cry in those situations.
So what's the craziest that you've gone through?
So craziest that I personally have gone through, and I have a deadline to meet on the last day of March. Like I probably mentioned before, I work 40 days or the day of the reporting. So we have 200-300 pages of financial statement to submit, and there is no room for error, right? Every spacing, every alphabet, every line has to be perfect. And we have to stamp every pages, and this has to be delivered physically to the office of the government, right? Like regulatory per se. So then the deadline is 5 o'clock on the last day, and we managed to get everything done at 4:45 p.m. Right? We have 15 minutes to get the document to be delivered, and it's KL traffic 4:45. It kind of built up. I was the appointed crazy driver. Whether it's a compliment or out of desperation, I'm not sure. So we were fast and furious, audit version. My colleague on the side was hanging for her dear life. We were just scraping through, finding the right building, calling the person in charge to come down to, because they still have to stamp and acknowledge that receipt. And we managed to arrive 4:59 p.m. just a minute right before 5.
Wow, that's a close shave.
Really close. And you know what? The next day it happened again. It happened again, and I can't believe it. And I was still the appointed driver the next year. My hand was like trembling. Yeah, I couldn't breathe for the time that I was driving. Yeah. That was really, but we go through. But after we arrived and all that, we call our bosses. Boss, we made it. And my boss said, yeah, good, go home and rest. And you know what? We went out and celebrate till late night. We still celebrate. But that's what audit is all about, right? You survive all that crazy deadlines and all these crazy moments, and you think that you won't survive on the road as well sometimes, right? But at the end, you just celebrate like crazy as well, because you were so happy that we made it as a team. You just celebrate like crazy after that.
You were talking about you did not breathe when you were driving, and I was imagining that whole high stress environment there. How many times have you cried throughout that whole journey?
Wow. In 10, 11 years, I think I remember the time I cried. I don't cry easily, but I do remember I have 5 times of crying.
5 times?
5 times of crying.
That's still quite a lot. Every 2 years once, eh?
Every 2 years once lah. I have a major breakdown. First year, my manager said, you know what? I don't think you're cut for a second year associate. That's it. I had a major breakdown at 3 a.m. because that's the timing that my manager told me. So I went down to the parking, go down to my car and cry.
3 a.m.
3 a.m.
So you just came back from a client office?
I came back from client office, and then my manager checked through the file. At 3 a.m., he finished checking through. He's like, look, girl, I don't think you're meant for this.
Wow. Yeah. No mincing of words, man.
Then I was like, okay, 3 a.m. I was tired, and I went down to my car and cried. Yeah, there's a couple of times that I cried throughout the career, about 5 times lah.
Right.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's okay. Yeah, now you look back, you just laugh lah. It's fun. Then my colleague bumped into me in the car park. You okay? I said, no. Rarely I say no. So I said no. And it's like, you want a cup noodle? I say, you have? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can you maybe share with us just a quick one, right? Why going into audit is something that for most accountant or people who are taking a professional paper wants to go in, just in case there are people out there who actually do not understand what's the reasoning or what's the benefit behind. Why can't I just go to a normal firm and get certified, right?
Yeah.
What's so good about audit aside from the resume part?
Yeah, you can go into a lot of commercials or any other firms, right, to get your professional paper or working hours to be certified the same way. But then I think audit just give you a different experience. Like I said, it's not about the auditing standard or accounting standard at the end of the day. It's the environment or circumstances that you are placed at the point of time makes you grow really fast as an individual, right? You can grow in many ways, but I would think adaptability, your skill management in terms of interpersonal skill, talking to people, time management, you probably juggle 3-4 engagements sometimes at the point of time. So sometimes you don't know who am I talking to or which engagement is this all about. It's all about all that management skill set that comes with it. And you learn that in a short span of time. And the people that you met could be quite, different. I have great mentors, partners that, shape me and build me the way that I think or how I act or how I behave to today. And that stuck with me for life, right? That's when I feel like audit is very different. Yes, I've not been in the commercial line, but I have a lot of colleagues that went through different paths. And the progression, it's really fast. If you do well, if you're stuck with it, you can be a manager in 5 years, right? And that just helps you in the progression of your career really fast. If you want to stretch something in audit, I don't think it's impossible. You can be a young partner at 32 years old. You just have to show them what you've got. Yeah, and just be there. And many firms or many other companies that can't give you that of equivalent. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think audit is one of those fields that you can stuck 10 years of working life in 5 years because the sheer number of hours that you guys stay there, right?
I guess not just the hours, but it's also the whole experience.
Yes.
Yeah, correct.
I mean, the kind of pressure that you're being put in. Now, I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about the part about pressure, right? All of us, when we think about auditor, very often we look at someone who's very smart. We think the person is very intelligent. But is it true that most auditors are really very smart, or actually their biggest strength is they can suffer longer than anyone else can?
Honestly, I don't think you have to be a genius to be good in audit, right? I mean, I'm not a genius. It's not rocket science, right? So everything is it's already there and then. So to me, it's about how you can tahan lor, and how far can you go with that. So how you handle all the situation actually brings you further than being just smart. I mean, you can be smart, sharp, sure, but comes to all the technical things, technical stuff. If you don't know, there's always, our technical department to ask. There's somebody that can guide you through all the technical terms of things. So like I said, I don't think you have to be, or you need to be the smartest person lah. You just need to know how to survive. It's survival mode. You try to prioritize the task, try to make things work, and just float and just survive in the situation. Right. And I think you will do well, better than being just pure genius or smart, right, in those things. Yeah.
I see. You mentioned these two things, right? You started off by mentioning about handling situation.
Yeah.
And number two, you talk about surviving.
Yeah.
I just want to begin by talking about handling situations, right? What are the situations that generally one as an auditor being thrown into that you need to excel in order to be good at what you do?
So I think you can come into situation with many times of audit at having different engagements. You can have engagement that is from plantation to, different type of nature of business, right? And those documents could be everywhere, may not be able to provide by client, right?
Right.
And you have to think of the way to handle it. If the client say, I can't give you this, then what are you going to do? You can't just say, boss, I got nothing to give you, right? So you have to think your way around how to make things work, right? So you can tell the client, maybe you can provide me with the alternative, or maybe is there something else that we can do? So you don't have one straight answer for everything. You need to learn how to think around it, think out of the box, how to resolve the situation. You can't just force my client, give me that, or no, that's it, right?
Oh.
Yeah. So there are many times, of such lah.
Right. So actually in that case, audit is also quite creative, right? It's not as to the book as we think it is.
Yeah.
Where it's just about balancing or tracking the number of receipts.
Yeah.
But it could mean in a creative situation, like you just mentioned, if I do not have all your receipts, maybe let's track your inventory instead, right?
Yeah.
So then we know roughly that turnaround is
exactly
what we're looking at, right? So you as an accountant or as an auditor, it's just being adaptable to whatever situation to think about a creative solution.
Yeah, exactly. Not creative accounting, but creative solution.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, but this makes up a very important skill set to be a business owner one day, right?
Exactly. So it's not about, I have ABCD and I do ABCD. And often or not, 10 out of 10 of your engagement don't give you exactly what you wanted, right? So you have to think out of the box. Okay, so if I don't have that, what can I get next, right? To give me the same answer, right? If I don't, get whatever I want, I don't have a bank statement, then what am I going to get, right? So, that often or not, it's what pushes you to think out of the box and you just adapt. Yeah. So every day you have people telling you, I don't have this, I don't have that. What are you going to do about it? So that is just what audit, it's very adaptable and they're very bendable and agile. So they would just fit into whatever situation, desperation out of it.
Right.
You will think out of the box for it.
Right. And that's the skill set that's needed for you to climb, right?
For sure.
Suppose if the person is just someone who follows the book, you won't be able to climb very far in audit.
You won't survive. Yeah, you won't survive. You will just cry over things that you can't get and you just won't be able to complete your task in your job. Yeah. So at the end of the day, you just work around it and you try to survive and you get something of the same. They give you the same thing that meet the objective.
Right.
That's about it. Right.
So in a way, actually, do you think that this kind of high pressure environment, right, where there's no excuse to say the client doesn't want to give me the receipt, or the client doesn't have that receipt. Therefore, I can't verify it. But no one cares. Everyone is just, no, I just need to find a solution.
Yeah.
And because that pressure is so high and standards are high as well, there's no watering down like, oh, it's okay lah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That kind of made many of these people like yourself who are from audit grow a lot.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of pressure from the public, right? Public expectation, right? Or regulatory. Yeah. So you can't just say, I don't have this and that, therefore I can't do my job. And our bosses can't just say, oh, okay, if you don't have it, it's fine. I won't say that. You have to figure your life out.
Yeah. So it's most of the time is when you go to them, they will ask you, so what's your solution?
Exactly.
Don't come to me with a problem.
Yeah, you don't come with the problem. You come with me with a problem and the solution and how you resolve it subsequently. So with the high pressure, you knew that you have to come up with something of a solution. And what solution can you bring to the table? That makes you really, really creative sometimes.
Right. Now look at the hindsight. Do you think going through this experience made you better than who you thought you can ever be?
I suppose, yes. I didn't know there was this side of me that really liked the challenge. I didn't know I have so much grit. I didn't know that I can adapt so well. I didn't know that I can even speak Hokkien out of desperation if I needed to. I have no idea in all that, right? And audit sort of pushes me to my limit, and to the day that I said, oh, I actually can do that, or I can speak Hokkien. That makes me realize that there's a better version of myself, right? And I didn't know that.
Right. Now, having said that, right, today when we talk about the workplace, and currently now you're a business owner, yeah, many of the younger people are always talking about work-life balance. And I think suffering is something that many people don't see it as necessary, or they want to, obviously. I don't think anyone wants to run into suffering, Audit being an industry that's filled with a lot of suffering, I would say, right? But it's a suffering that, if you survive, it makes you a better person. Right? And there's no other way to go about other than being torturous. What are your thoughts about it? Like in terms of balancing between work-life balance and this whole thing, is it necessary for people to go through such hardship just to be better?
Yeah, so I do believe that at the start of your career, when you first graduate, most of the time was spent figuring your way out, learning and trying to find where can I get all these resources, where can I, get all that information that I needed. I believe most of the time are spent learning rather than working, right? So to me, at the early of your stage of your career, it's best to have work first and life a little bit later, or a little bit lesser life, I wouldn't say. But because you have built such a strong foundation at the first few years of your career, that gives you the ability to live later on. That's my belief, right? I believe you should learn the basic, have a strong foundation at the start of your career, because you learn and you know how to handle things, figure your way out of nothing, adapt well, then you can live fairly well later on, because you already know that what am I going to do in such a situation? If I have limited resources, I can do so and so, right? And that makes me feel like the work-life balance is work first, live a little bit later. Yeah, audit can be harsh at certain times. I don't deny that. But it just gives you that strong foundation to start off, so that later on, if you go into another job, people might take a longer time to finish a task. You probably take a shorter time just because you already had what it takes to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, talk about that, right? Since you're talking about topic about life, work life and all, I understand that you spent 11 years in audit. Can you tell us that journey, right? At what level that you went to?
Yeah, so 11 years, so I quit as a director. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So throughout, I did try other fields. So I went into consultation. I even did some assurance job along the way.
All within
the 11 years. So not just audit. So I did certain consultation job for certain banks. I did certain assurance for digital banking as well.
Right.
So that's my specialty. And throughout the year, I did thought of quitting every year. That's because I just, thought that I want something else. I didn't even have my professional paper until 5 years later. Yeah,
right.
When I was near to becoming a manager. I didn't knew that this is what I wanted to do.
Right.
Yeah. I wasn't that great. Like I said, people tell me that I'm not meant for this as well.
You mentioned that every year you thought about quitting.
Exactly.
So why wait for 11 years? What kept you back?
I actually didn't know, honestly. Yeah, every year I tell myself, just one more year lah. It's okay, But when times are tough, then I'm like, oh, I cannot do this anymore lah. After this, I'm going to go find another job. When you're done, when you're finished with all that and it was so difficult, then I'm like, it's not too bad, I like the challenge. I learned something new, and there's something more that I didn't know. Okay lah, just one more year, I can do it. And without you realizing it, you're high functioning in a dysfunction way. You just stay for another year. But I guess at the end of the day, I like the challenge and I like the environment of audit. I like having a lot of fun with my friends, and I did like my mentor or my partners back then that guided me throughout the way. And I think that those information that they guide me or the things that they teach me, I can't really get it elsewhere. But honestly, I did have a lot of offers along the 10, 11 years, right? After I become a senior, I think I already have some job offers. And every year there's headhunters that come to me to offer me some jobs. And it was pretty good offers as well. I wasn't convinced that those commercial line, gave me what I wanted.
Right.
The progression, the environment, the bosses that I had, I didn't feel like, there was anything that can give me off the same, like what Audit have.
Do you think that generally, because the environment is so tough, and at every turn, you just don't think you can make it through, but by the time you make it through, you also realize like, hey, actually I can do it.
Exactly.
And that feeling is quite addictive.
Like I said, yeah, that's why I feel like, you have this strange addiction to challenges to a certain way. I didn't know I can make it. I didn't know that, I can do this. But somehow I made it. Yeah. And every year I made it. And when you made it, you feel like, actually, I can do this. Yeah, I can do it. That is why. Yeah. That is why I stayed for so long.
Now, having said that, right, I'm curious, right? Over the 11 years, the life is pretty much the same, right? You're just running on the mill again and again. Was there a period of time when you go to a certain stage, then you kind of live a more work-life balance kind of life? Or as long as you're in the audit field, and in any of these big four, whether it's in the consultancy arm or audit side of the arm, generally it is just the same kind of culture where it's high stress. You're just going to need to keep achieving. What are we looking at here?
Honestly speaking, I feel like the first 3-4 years was probably the toughest, because I guess you weren't familiar with the job scope, and all that. And after the 4 years, things tend to get a little bit better, but it wasn't obviously a chill and like work-life balance as well, because then you are fighting for a managerial position, right? Because you're constantly revolving so fast, right? 2 years, then 3 years you become a senior, then you become an assistant manager for 2 years, then you become a manager in the 5th year. And to have that, you are constantly needing to have different skill set, and you need to give more than just being an auditor. You have to be a boss. You have to be a leader, lead a team, right? So then what comes next, right? After being a manager, then you probably have a portfolio to handle, and you have to, ace it as a manager now. So it was tough again, because you have to learn or relearn everything again that you knew, right? But things get easier, right? As and when you do longer, the familiarity, how the audit works, how the technical things works, how your client works, it kind of get easier and easier, honestly speaking.
Right.
But I would say the first 5 years was tough, yeah. And as and when I become manager, maybe by 3rd year, I think things are a little bit easier. But of course, you get thrown a hard ball, wreck you like a ball certain times with new portfolios and new maybe role as well.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's tough. But at the point of time, maybe you are so, in a way, seasoned. Yeah. Tough. It's just another day. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's just another day. And I like it, at the point of time, some new portfolios, some new engagements, some roles. Fun. It's something out of ordinary, and I like it. Yeah.
So by then, you just develop this love-hate relationship with challenges, right?
Exactly.
Can't love it, can't hate it at the same time.
Well, but I
Wish
still
you're
get
not
up.
in it, but you still do it, right?
Yeah.
And so basically, there's no such thing as workload decreasing or lesser stress. It's just you get better at handling it as you become more seasoned in the industry.
Exactly. You just get better and better in doing your job. Then you just get faster and faster. Maybe the first year I do vouching or casting, it takes me 3 hours. By the time I'm a manager, it just takes me 15 minutes to do it. I can do the math in my head. I can do the balancing in my head. It just gets better and better.
You kind of can relate information faster when there's no receipt. Okay,
Exactly.
we can probably pinpoint this kind of experience before that we did all the different way of finding a solution, right?
For sure. You just get better in doing your job, and it just gets faster and faster. And you know where all the pain points is, you know where the risk areas is. So you basically just do well, right? The task is the same.
Right.
It doesn't get any different any other day after 10 years.
Right.
It's just a matter of getting used to it.
So why did you decide to make a move after the 11th year?
I suppose, I have a different life that I wanted out of Audit. After so many years being in it, I had some health issues. I faced some allergies that I never had before. I guess it's the constant late nights or something like that that helped me, or pressure. I'm not sure. And the doctor can't pinpoint. So, but I actually didn't want to quit. After with all the allergens and being sick for some time, I didn't want to quit. I wanted to be a partner. I worked very, very hard towards that direction. I think I was on the right track. I think I was, in a good progress, right? I wanted to be a partner, but suddenly it just struck me that I actually wanted a family, right? And at the point of time, I wanted a family of my own. I want to be present for my child, and I didn't want to have them scrolling through my pictures or video calling me just to see me, right? So I want to be there. Hence, I actually make a call and just quit
Oh,
and start something of my own. I didn't even go to any commercials or any other places. I just started something of my own that I believe that it's more supportive in the role that I wanted to be.
right.
Yeah.
And what is it that you're currently doing?
After quitting Big Four, I actually started a virtual accounting firm. It's called PYT Partners. So what we do is, we just service our client all virtually. So the beauty of it is that then, I can have career and family at the same time and be actually present for there. So being a virtual firm, so we actually work from wherever we want to. Yeah. So I have a lot of stuff from different, locations and whatnot. And we just have to make sure that all the tasks are being delivered on timely manner. And that's about it. Because my parents weren't at home when we were young. We were raised by grandparents. So that experience stuck with me. So being able to see my child growing up at every step of their life makes me feel a lot more fulfilled. And, having a career as well that do fairly well at the point makes me happy. Yeah.
Right.
So I think what we do now has to be a little bit different from those days that you have to work in office 9 to 5, 9 to 6, 9 to 8. I think the environment has changed whereby men goes out to work, women stay back, and now we have grown something that we can have both. And it's something that I truly believe in today's environment.
Right. So I have a question. Because it's not like you hate your job, that's why you want to leave. But you want to start a family and you think that this is more important, so you left, right?
Yeah.
I always wonder myself because I believe it's a little bit different for a lady in the work field. I think it's not easy to thrive and do very well in accounting as a lady as well. Moving up to the director level, soon to be on the right path to be a partner. Yes. I think you've earned it by working really, really hard, right? And there comes a time when you say, I want to start a family. And suddenly your consideration has to be, do I quit my job? And sometimes it seems almost unfair because as a man, when that happens, it is, we need to double down on our job.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And it's not like you weren't achieving. You're achieving.
Yeah.
How do you feel at the moment? Were you torn? How was the feeling like processing it?
Yeah, that's true. In many conversations that I had with my husband, right? Yeah, I said, why do I have to quit? Why does it has to be me, right? I am on the right track. I have a good pay, high title, and I had everything that I needed to be there, right? Why do I have to quit and, call it quit just because, I need to have a family, and why must it be me, right? I don't have an answer with that. I think it's a society or the mentality or the culture that, we are still in Malaysia very much, right? And I felt like it was unfair for sure. But I was thinking that it's a choice that I want to make, but hence I want something that I can have both, right? And this is what struck me at the time that, you know what? I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to change the way that I work. I just going to be working differently. A partner in a Big Four, it's not the end for me, right? It's not just the only way for me. I can have my own. And I want to be a partner. May not be in any of the prestigious firm they were talking about. It's a firm of myself. So I dictate what culture, what values, and what vision that I have for myself. After some time of being accorded unfair and not happy with, that I have to make that decision. And in a way, feeling that the past 10 years or 11 has been wasted. I'm trying to strive for what I wanted. Yeah. But then I realized after I started what I started, right? It wasn't all wasted. It was really a foundation that was built and meant to be this. And it just makes me do better in what I'm doing right now. Yeah. I bring what I have all towards the firm and what I've built. It's just the beauty of both.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you were deciding to quit and leaving and then starting his firm, you mentioned a change of perspective in between. How long did it took and
Wow.
between that blaming? Because I can imagine, right?
Yeah.
At your title, at your position, it is literally some part of you have to die
Yeah.
just to be a mummy.
Yeah. Be a
Right.
mummy. Yeah.
And it's almost like the world is suddenly telling you that you can't have both things.
Yeah. That's true.
You can only have one.
Yeah.
Right. And a big part of your identity just have to die, right?
Yeah.
And that must have been really struggling to come to a change of perspective and then building what you built today,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, I still remember I quit in March. So it probably took me about almost 9 months, right? Figuring my way out, what I wanted to do. I was jobless for almost 9 months. I had something on the side, but it didn't strike off. Yeah, I was selling something on Shopee, an e-commerce platform as well, and it didn't strike. So I thought, okay, maybe I can go back to commercial line and work and get a job, outside. And because, I was feeling quite under achieving certain aspect of my life, right? I didn't feel like I was doing well. I didn't feel like I was doing enough. I didn't feel like I was moving forward with my career. So I felt a lot of that emotions throughout that 9 months. And suddenly, I was just talking to this ex-colleague of mine, and we thought, why not, started something. And I took a very basic entry level to start off this for a period of time. So I had a huge pay cut, surviving on my savings and all that. Yeah. And it just, when it kind of started off, we only have 1 to 2 staff. Yeah. And now we have grown to a size of 15 in a short span of 2.5 years. And that's when it just makes me feel like it's nothing just about being a partner in an audit firm or big firm. You can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. Yeah. But of course, with the right knowledge and the right timing and the right, yeah.
I believe there are many people out there who actually probably struggle the same thing like yourself.
Yeah.
Being a high achiever and then needing to give up the high achievement to maybe start a family.
Yeah.
Because that's something that's worth it.
Yeah.
Right? And I believe that during that time, there's probably some very dark times that you have to go through. Can you share with us, like, perhaps, what was the darkest for you and how do you get out of it?
The darkest for me, honestly speaking, I being a high achiever, and obviously I do have enough savings, right? But I'm very kiam siap, Not to say kiam siap in a way I don't want to spend on anything, but I refuses to have a negative inflow on a monthly basis. And the point that I wanted to buy something, which I didn't mind buying back then with a pay of such, right? A pretty comfortable living. I felt like I wasn't able to afford it. And I felt like maybe to buy a coffee of $10 was a waste of money.
Right.
Yeah, to go for a haircut, it was a splurge. Yeah, and I didn't felt like I was worth it. Yeah, I was worth having that cup of coffee, or I was worth having the haircut. I didn't deserve it because I did not do anything to deserve it. Yeah, so I think that part was quite low self-esteem, and I didn't feel like I was deserving any of these treats in that sense.
And were there anything that kind of like getting out of it? Was there anything that kind of like hit you and made you feel?
There wasn't anything that makes you feel alive out of working or achieving something, right? So that's why at that point of time, I quickly went for interviews to get job offers and to get interviews going on so that I get the offer. Those offer makes me feel great. It makes me feel like, I'm actually still applicable. I'm still wanted in this industry, and having more offers makes me feel fantastic. Right? That's when I felt like,
at least not so bad, huh?
I actually did not just become a mummy. I actually am worth something out of that role that I'm playing. Of course, I'm proud being one, but I wanted to be myself again.
Right.
Yeah, and I want to do well in the aspect that I think I can do well, and I did pretty well previously.
Right.
Yeah.
Just one more last one, right?
Sure.
for many people out there right now, if they're going through this, I think if they're married, one person that will journey with them very closely will be the husband. My wife went through a stint where she was not working. Yeah, and I understand it's not as easy. Sometimes as a husband, you comfort also you die, don't comfort also you die, because it's a matter of self-esteem as well, right? Yeah, say, hey, don't worry, we're young ni. But hey, so you say useless. So all this will start coming out, right?
Yeah.
So how would you give an advice to the husbands out there if their wife are going through a similar thing,
Yeah.
are taking a career break to support a family, to raise a child? What can they do to be the most supportive partner for their wives?
I guess being a husband or being a father, right? If you have a family or kids, right? I think the most supportive role of a husband often should be it. Just support in anything that your wife wishes to do. If she wanted to be a working mommy, do more chores, right? Take up more roles in the house, right? Pick up roles to pick up your kids or whatever it is. If your wife decided to, be a stay-home mom, that's fine. Then try to encourage your wife, for example, but don't assume that she have plenty of time in her pocket to do anything that she wants just because she decided to be a stay-home mom, or just because she wants to or she has to, right? Just support in anything that she does, right? Not questioning that whether she is worthwhile or not worthwhile being a mother or work from home mom or work from office mom or stay home mom. Any role that a woman play, I think the husband should always be supportive of anything that she does and she decided to be for the child or for the family of theirs, right? So if the word to husband is don't question why she does it. If she decided to do it, just support in any role that she decided to play. I guess many women struggle to make a decision, and many of them aren't so lucky like me, right? And I can't have both at the moment, right now, right? Some women just do not have the choice and do not have the ability to do or score the same way as I do. So yeah, I think as a husband or a father, yeah, you just have to play a role whereby it's equivalent lah.
Right. Now that you started this new firm, PYT, right?
Yeah.
Combining your experience being in an audit firm, the whole experience there where it's high pressure, everything is crazy, and then now having your own little firm there, growing, yeah. How do you see the offering that you can offer that can combine the best of both ends and make it something that you want? I guess eventually, I can understand being a business owner myself. There's this thrill about creating your own baby, right? Your own company, the kind of way they want. You want it to be pressuring in the place that it should be and not pressuring in the place that it shouldn't be. So what is that vision like for you?
Right. So when we started the firm, we were quite clear on our vision, right? We didn't want to be like a big firm, but we didn't want to be like an ordinary firm as well. We want to be in the best of flexibility in the terms of working wherever you want. We want to be very much task-oriented. We don't want to be having somebody that constantly pays you for things, and every day. So in our firm, our vision is that we have a place to work for everybody, and there is a place for every client that we serve, right? So it doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter if you are a mommy or you are daddy or you are single. You are just rightly acceptable in our firm, and we play the roles best suited to your strength. Yeah. So we didn't want it to be restricted in that manner. So we want it to be very flexible and adaptable for many people. Honestly, myself, I didn't come from a commercial line, so I didn't know how to even do certain double entry at a certain point of time. I learned along the way when we grow the firm, and we hire some people that knows how to do their job as well.
Right.
Yeah, and we just guide them. Right. Yeah, accordingly, how to service a client. So to us, I think to me, it's more like having the right people, make sure that our staff are well taken care of, and they do best in servicing our clients. Yeah.
And in terms of working culture, right? What do you see? Like, are you building a similar kind of style where, like Big Four, high stress level, someone's gonna cry at 3:00, or like what are you looking at? Because you benefited to a certain extent from that environment, although we're going to talk about the cost of it as well.
Yeah.
But what do you see in terms of the people they hire? Because coming from your background, like I myself, I came through a hard background, and I appreciate suffering.
Yeah.
But not all our staff appreciate suffering, right? So what do you see in terms of working environment? What do you want to give them? And what are the areas that you purposely design in such a way where, if they can't go through that kind of suffering, they're probably not there. But if they can, I also don't want to go until that level at 3 a.m. I send someone crying in the car, right? So yeah, how do you balance that?
I didn't want to apply the same, honestly speaking. I mean, I came from audit 10 years ago or 15 years ago, right? It's a very different generation. My bosses are from very different generation. So they could do things differently from what I do now. And I did not want to apply of the same. I only applied the good things, for the firm. So for example, I didn't need my staff to come in office 8:30. I said, after the traffic, work in the home, come in 10:30. Go home by 4. It doesn't really matter, right? I didn't want my staff to go through the same suffering unnecessarily, but they has to be learned in a way whereby they know how to think and adapt. So our approach is, of course, a little bit softer in that sense. We want them to learn along the way. We want them to not suffer that much lah, right? Not how we do it, back then. And we don't raise our voices. We don't throw the files, and we did not bring that olden audit culture to our firm. We don't do things that we don't appreciate what our bosses did to us back then, many, many years ago. Those are older generation. I'm pretty sure by now they're all retired. And I appreciate how the new way of working, whereby, we just utilize tools or, technologies to help to work so that my staff suffer lesser in that sense. Right? I don't need them to sit down and print out the papers like how we did, use pen and pencil to draw on all that. Yeah. So we try to cut and lessen down on all those unnecessary administrative tasks by using technologies, right? And teach them what are the things that you should learn in terms of the base of stuff, right? And we didn't want them to go through those suffering of not knowing where to get the resources, where to get the stuff, how to find things around your way. We teach them, let them learn. And if they do not learn, then we will try another way of teaching them again. So if plan A doesn't work, plan B, plan C. So if still doesn't work, it doesn't really matter. To us, it's like every staff are different. We understand not every staff that we hire are like the auditors back then, right? They didn't want the same journey. It's fine. Everybody have the journey. They can decide what journey they want. If they decide the journey they want is to be less stressful, but takes time to learn, we will give them that journey if they wanted to. If they don't want this engagement, they felt like, I want to have more exposure for sure. Then we will allocate different tasks because we don't just do accounting. We can have data analytics that we do. We have a virtual CFO that we do. So we will engage them in different engagement just to widen their knowledge if they wishes to. So we will always ask them, what do you want for your career? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to know? So then we will plan or tailor certain job to the certain people based on their wants and what they are good at as well. So we groom that from them.
I see. Now, talking about, let's shift gears back to Big Four again. Yeah, I think for many of my audience, they generally would like to know what is the career progression like and how much money can you really make if you're an audit? What is the current fresh grad pay like for if you enter, say, a Big Four? And say if you reach... is there any, because I understand that in audit, generally, the pay is actually quite open. It's like this level is this pay onwards, right? So can you give us a brief idea of what we are looking at until you make partner?
Sure. Honestly, I think the pay are quite open, right? So I don't think that it's a secret to the industry how much each level earn, right?
$100 different now.
Yeah. Let's put it that way.
Different now.
Yeah. I think in the current pay, if I'm not wrong, the fresh graduate get 4,000 and above. So when you first enter, it could be 400, 410 thereabout, but it's about 4,000, right? A progression to a second associate, I think it's just a couple of dollars, $100 and difference, right? Then when you get to a senior AM or a manager, that is the sort of the grading that we have.
The jump.
Yeah. So I think on the third year, if you are looking at senior, that's another 1,000 increase from your basic. Yeah. Then I think when you go to assistant manager, I think there's also another 1,000 of increase of such. So I think if you hit a manager level, first year, I think it's about more than a 5 digit. So I'm looking probably at 11 or 12,000 if I'm not
so
wrong.
at the managerial level, you're looking about 10K and above.
Yeah.
Right,
So I
right.
think that it's roughly the entry level for
Right.
a manager. So I think then, from manager, you serve couple of years. I'm not sure at the moment now, but you probably have 3 years to senior manager, and from senior manager, another 3-4 years to hit a director. But as a director, the entry level, if I'm not wrong for now, I think it's about close to maybe 15,000 thereabouts.
Okay.
Yeah, as a first year director. And then you progress from there. How long you stay as a director to a partner, I think that depends because it's a different skill set that you need to show or possess. As a partner. As a partner, I think it's very subjective then. But from firm to firm, I believe it's a range of huge. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But if I would to say, or from what I understand, it could range from 25 and above, depending, I think, certain package or whatnot. Yeah.
But it also depends on the amount of business you bring in and so on, right?
Yeah, exactly. So as far as I know, when you reach partner, it's a very different scale of pay that you get. Yeah.
Right.
So it's a very subjective thing when it comes to firm. It could be different from firm to firm already when it comes to a partner, depending on packages and remuneration. And doesn't just be a salary. I think it's the whole package as a partner would be very different.
So at what level in this journey do you start transitioning from being someone who verifies account to someone who needs to start bringing in business?
Yeah. So I think honestly, from manager level, maybe not first year, starting from probably second or third year, they will start engaging you to all the pitches, business development activities as well. So you from there, you learn already how to pitch and how to do some of the deck as well. From there, then I think the most intense probably can start from a senior manager last year towards a director. When you're going up as a director, you probably be involved in a lot of try to score a client, business development and all that.
Right.
Yeah, that would be very much focused as a director.
Right. So we can say that basically past senior, you want to enter into a director level, you have to be able to network and do BD work. If you can't, it's going to be tough.
Certain level, I suppose you will have to start participating lah. Yeah.
Right. I see. That's interesting. So that gives us a good idea of what we are looking at in terms of career progression and salary amount, right? Now, my final question to you is this. If you were to start all over again, would you still choose Big Four as the starting ground?
Yes, I would say so. I would definitely, if I can rewind back the time, if anything, I would still go back audit as my first job. And I do not feel like, it was a very scary or it was a very daunting kind of job. It gives me a lot of opportunities along the way. It gave me a lot of knowledge, a lot of base at what I do right now. Yeah, and I would definitely join audit as my first job again and again. And I would, encourage a lot of people that if you're ready for this, if you're ready to learn all you wanted to learn, just join audit. Yeah, just have a look. There's nothing to lose, right? If you don't like it, at the end of the day, you can always go for another opportunity. But if you like it, just stay on and learn as much as you can and see what you can explore from there.
Thank you very much. Before we go, maybe can you share with our audience out there who are considering on joining audit or not? Maybe you can share with them what do you observe are the qualities of people who can do well in audit and people who can't do well in audit? Because you love the job, you thrive very well in it. I believe there are also people out there who may not like it if they are falling in certain character or kind of personality. So maybe you can share that with the audience.
Yeah, I think people that come out of audit are generally mentally very strong, right? They are very adaptive and they're very open to any situation they're placed, right? But if people that do not do so well, I suppose, are often the people that perhaps take things too personally. If a job doesn't do well, it's their fault. But it may not be, right? So certain people, if taking things too personally or too harsh on yourself all the time, you may not be suited to audit. Yeah, because there are many reasons why engagement fail or did not meet the deadline or fall through, right? So I suppose people that, you think that you introvert, actually it's fine, right? It brings the extrovert out of you in audit as well. You've met so many people along the way. If you think that you're introvert, that's why you're not suitable to audit, that's not true as well, right? I think what I really encourage people is just that if you don't think they are meant for audit, it's just because you are not ready for the challenges. That's probably the only reason that you don't want to join audit. If not ready to open your eyes or explore what's come next, right? Or you don't like unpredictability, or you don't like maybe working round the clock in certain days, or you don't like all those, then maybe audit is not meant for you. But you're ready to or open for any of these circumstances, any hours, any weekends that they work from office, it's fine. Yeah, those people that is more open to any circumstances, I think is really suitable to audit. If you want all the fun, join audit, because all the people there are young and they are full of energy. But yeah, I suppose people that if you are not open for all that uncertainty, if you like a certain fixed schedule, a fixed place to go to, fixed food to eat only, yeah, then maybe you're not suited to audit lah.
So thank you very much, Jen, for joining us in this podcast today. If our audience would like to reach out to you in any way, say for either career advice or maybe even understanding what does your firm do, is there a way that they can reach out to you?
Sure, you can always go to www.pytpartners.co, or just feel free to just drop us an email. Our email contact are all there in the website, so they can always reach out for a career advice. I've been through a lot of career advice that I give to a lot of new fresh graduates as well as myself. I was quite passionate about this field, so feel free to just reach out to us through the website. Our contact is there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.